Voldemort qualifies extravagantly for acts of evil. He's killed not out of self-defense, not to protect, not for any of the reasons that we might all be able to envisage, or most of us could envisage ourselves killing in certain extreme situations if people we loved were threatened or in war. He's killed cold-bloodedly, sometimes for enjoyment, and for his own personal gain. I call that evil. And yes, at the end of the book, you have a clash of two utterly, utterly different, again, for want of a better word, souls. One that has been maimed and has become less than human, because to me, human includes the capacity to love, and Voldemort has deliberately dehumanized himself. And this flawed, vulnerable, damaged, and yet still fighting, still loving, still daring to love and daring to hope soul, which is Harry. And they meet and they clash, and it's what happens when they clash that gives us our denouement.
Jo locks herself in the Balmoral Hotel, Edinburgh, to work on the crucial final chapters of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. It's January the 11th, 2007, and the end of 17 years of writing.
Yeah, I think I've finished.
Hey, Jo, well done.
Thank you. Well, you don't know, it might be rubbish. Some people will loathe it. They'll absolutely loathe it. But the thing is, that's as it should be, because for some people to love it, others must loathe it. That's just in the nature of the plot. Some people won't be happy because of what they wanted to happen hasn't happened. And to an extent, there's so much expectation from the hardcore fans that I'm not sure I could ever match up to it. But I'm actually really, really happy with it. So it's very odd to think that this will be broadcast after loads of people have read it. And people may right now be throwing things at the screen, but I'm really happy with it. I like it. And I don't always feel like that.
Jo puts on the page numbers and saves the document. It's almost impossible to describe the level of expectation surrounding this one woman as she goes through the final stages towards publication. The process all seems so normal, almost boring. But this is now the most valuable manuscript in publishing history. She takes it in person to her agent, Christopher Little, in London. The handover is at Heathrow Airport at 10:43 on Friday the 12th of January 2007. The manuscript is taken to Jo's editor. After she's read it, she goes through it page by page, checking that every loose end is tied up. The publishers plan the book launch, and discussions concern how many copies J.K. Rowling will be able to sign.
A signing that will happen at midnight on publication day, but this will be about somewhere between, well, about 2,000 children for argument's sake.
Jo's agreed to sign for 8 hours.
Yes,
she
has.
midnight to...
You can't get that many people in anywhere.
Everyone here is forbidden to reveal anything about the plot to anyone.
We want everybody to get the book at the same time, and then everybody will know what happens at the same time, depending on how fast they read, of course.
So you're not going to tell me what happens?
I'm not going to tell you what happens. Can't tell you what happens. Be shot.
Would you lose your job if you told me what
I
happens?
can't tell you that, James.
Well, Mr. Potter, the whole thing starts with the tale of the three brothers.
On April the 23rd, Stephen Fry records the audiobook.
The stuff was quite disgusting, as though someone had liquidized bogey-flavoured every flavour beans.
He poses with Joe for photographs.
The big eyes are great, Stephen. Joe, keep engaged. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah.
The Chinese have a saying, be careful what you wish for. I wondered how much J.K. Rowling wanted all this fame.
I wished to be published, and I wished more than anything in the world to be a writer. Did I wish there was, but that it never occurred to me in a million years, James, that people would search my dustbins, put a long lens camera on me on the beach, you know. Never occurred to me that a journalist would bang on the door of one of my oldest friends and offer her money to talk about me. Never occurred to me that my children would be scrutinised to see how spoilt they were because their parent was famous.
3 weeks before the launch of the final book, Joe attends the film premiere of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the 5th book in the series. It's a starry, glamorous occasion, and Joe is expected to behave like a film star. But she is a writer, and when she started, she could hardly have expected all this attention.
What about the razzmatazz and all that stuff?
Well, some of it's fun, and some of it's frankly horrible. The fun bits are when you get to talk to people who have read your books. That's always great. What I find difficult is the kind of stagey midnight moment business. Because I'm not very good at it. I don't think that makes me a better person because I'm not good at it, I hasten to add, but I'm not good at it. I'm not a natural ta-da kind of person. I get all uptight about having to do that sort of stuff, and I feel like a prat. People definitely expect you to be visibly enjoying yourself. And I think Quentin Crisp said that was the secret to being good on television. Just look happy to be there. And I haven't always looked happy to be there. In fact, sometimes I've looked bloody miserable to be there. And I know that that's not televisually good, but, you know, I've got better. I'm having quite a good time here.
In a factory in Suffolk, under conditions of extreme secrecy, the book is being printed. So far, the Harry Potter series has sold 350 million copies in 65 different languages. The conclusion to the series is about to become the fastest-selling book in history. Harry Potter is a global phenomenon, and J.K. Rowling is now in demand all over the world. It's clearly a story with a happy ending. Here she is with her husband Neil on a private jet her publisher has hired for them. He's a doctor. They married in 2001 and have 2 children, David and Mackenzie. I wondered what their marriage was like and if there were tensions.
What is J.K. Rowling like to live with?
Joe.
Tell the truth.
Yeah, I'm going to tell the truth.
Excellent.
Joe detaches herself. When she becomes very stressed, she'll detach herself and only trust one person, and that's herself. So everyone else gets blocked out. And she becomes more and more stressed and less able to accept any help.
So that's presumably quite stressful for you.
Well, it is stressful. Basically, the barriers go up, and it's not just me, but it's everyone else around her. Only one person is trusted, and she's got to do everything herself, despite the fact that, you know, it's not possible to do everything herself.
But Joe's single-mindedness has led to the most anticipated book launch in history. July the 20th, 2007, at the Natural History Museum in London, 1,700 people, picked out of a lottery of 90,000 applicants, await J.K. Rowling's arrival. Jo, millions of fans are waiting for this book all over the world. How do you deal with that level of expectation?
It swings between, on this book, thinking it's the best I can do, it's how I always planned it to end, so that's going to have to be good enough. And occasionally you think, how can I ever live up to this?
2 hours to go. Jo's in her car on the way to the launch.
I can't believe I'm here. I'm even more excited than I thought I would be. Do you know, people queuing in Piccadilly 2 days ago from Belgium. I also really, really want a cigarette right now. And when I said that to Neil, he said, have you got one? And I should have done, but then I would have been hooked. Tomorrow I'd have gone out and bought 20. I can't smoke. With me, it's 40 a day or it's nothing.
The book is embargoed until 1 second past midnight. At that point, J.K. Rowling will open Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows and begin to read. The countdown takes place worldwide.
Chapter 1. The Dark Lord Ascending. The two men appeared out of nowhere, a few yards apart in the narrow, moonlit lane. For a second they stood quite still, wands directed at each other's chests. Then, recognizing each other, they stowed their wands beneath their cloaks and started walking briskly in the same direction.
As Jo reads, fans all over the world collect their copies at last.
Best day of our lives. It feels amazing having this in our hands finally after waiting for 10 years and 16 hours today. Oh my God, I can't even believe that I can go back to the hotel room and read this. Like, I can read this. I can read Harry Potter.
Does it really matter now if I get a bit drunk and disorderly? I'll finish the book.
In London, from 20 past midnight until 7 in the morning, J.K. Rowling signed 1,700 copies of her book.
Here we are.
We're off.
First signing of the book, and then we can get some photos around.
Do you know what, Hugo? You will find someone who is called Hugo in this book.
Thank you very much.
In the first 24 hours, 2.65 million books are bought in the United Kingdom and 8.3 million books are sold in the United States. That's over 7,000 copies a minute. What readers find at the end of the last book is that this has been a story about the redemptive power of love. But if you don't want to know the ending, this is the time to look away for a couple of minutes.
I felt it would be a betrayal of the character if I showed Harry doing anything other than living what all along he has discovered to be true, which is that love is the strongest power there is. And I thought a lot about people who'd been through terrible things like wars,